Welcome back to the channel. We've got our daily NBA predictions here for November 25th, just like we're doing every single day here on the channel. Again, daily NBA predictions all the way until the postseason. We have got, I believe, 8 or 9 games today here on Monday. Of course, we got the in-season tournament games tomorrow on Tuesday. Then pretty much, I think everybody plays on Wednesday. Day off, obviously, on Thanksgiving. And then again, we get back going with things with the in-season tournament on Friday. So let's get into it here. 9 games here on Monday, November 25th. And folks, if you haven't yet though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily NBA predictions here on the channel. Earlier today, we posted our college basketball 5 best bets. We've got some huge games in the land of college basketball today, including the games in the Maui Invitational. So go make sure to check out that video, as well as our PFL 2024 World Championships predictions. That was posted on the channel last night. So go make sure to check out that video if you are interested in MMA as well. Okay, let's get into the first here of these 9 NBA games. We start things off here in Charlotte, North Carolina for the Charlotte Hornets and the Orlando Magic. I'm taking the Magic here. I think they're the better team. Charlotte, they had a game where LaMelo Ball scored 50 points and they still lost by 6 points to the Milwaukee Bucks. And that just kind of goes to show where the Hornets are at, or where they're at right now. Grant Williams out for the season. Sucks for him. Is that too big of a loss? No, but still, Charlotte. Again, LaMelo Ball scoring 50 points in one game and then still losing by 6 points, which, by the way, wouldn't cover the spread, kind of goes to show where the Hornets are. It sucks, but that's what Charlotte is right now. I'm just being honest. They've got a great player. They've got a superstar in LaMelo Ball. They got Brandon Miller who can hoop. But outside of those two guys, this team really lacks. They just do. Orlando's the better team. Guys, they have one loss in their last, 10 games, give or take. It's that game in Los Angeles against the Clippers at the Intuit Dome. But here's the thing. Every single game Franz Wagner leads his team in scoring, they win the basketball game. The one bad game he had was last Wednesday where they lost against the Clippers. He scored 15 points, and Anthony Black led their team in scoring. Since then, they've won back-to-back games. Obviously, Franz Wagner hit the game-winning 3 against the Lakers on Thursday, and then they just beat the Pistons on Saturday. And don't look now, but Orlando is now 11-7. Again, this is everything we thought Orlando was going to be at the beginning of the season. I thought, personally, that it was going to take them a while until Paolo Banchero came back from injury to the point where we can start talking about Orlando as contenders again. But no, this team is an elite team in the Eastern Conference, even without Paolo Banchero, which again, just goes to show you how good the Orlando Magic are, but at the same time, it goes to show you how good Franz Wagner is. Franz Wagner is an all-star. He's going to be an all-star this season. He's putting up crazy numbers without Paolo Banchero in the lineup. He's averaging 24 points a night, 6 boards. It is what it is. But Wagner is that number 1 option for currently the number 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. And I said it a couple days ago, and I'm going to say it again. I feel like everything's finally sorting itself out in the NBA right now. I truly believe it. I think now we kind of know who the good teams are. And obviously that's expected, 18 games into the season. But now we can finally, start, all right, these teams suck. These teams are good, right? These are the play-in teams. These are the surefire playoff teams. Charlotte's going to go nowhere. Let's just be honest, guys. Charlotte's not making the playoffs this season. They are all LaMelo Ball, but even then, they can't win games when LaMelo's putting up 50 points. Again, I think once you come off that too, it's just, I don't know. I feel like you go downhill from there. You have a guy, give it his all, he drops 50 points, and you still lose the basketball game. Charlotte's going to be at home for the next week or so, but I don't know. I like Orlando to win this game. They're the better team, obviously. Orlando plays great defense. They should be able to shut down Charlotte, and again, Franz Wagner should have a night. So give me the Orlando Magic to win on the road here and to cover the 5.5 points against the Charlotte Hornets. Now we go on to Detroit, and we're going to be taking the underdog in this game. We're taking the Toronto Raptors to go to Detroit and beat the Pistons. Yes, we are taking the 4-13 Toronto Raptors. Why? No Cade Cunningham for the Detroit Pistons. He is doubtful to play this game tonight. And personally, I don't know why this line is where it is. We're getting 5.5 points here on the Raptors, and we're getting plus 170 for Toronto as well. I love that line. Again, playing a Pistons team that is without Cade Cunningham. Cunningham has played every single game so far this season except for their last game where they lost on Saturday night against the Orlando Magic. They lost the game by 11 points. Jaden Ivey led their team in points with 19. Malik Beasley gave them 18. But other than that, they only had one other scorer on that team that scored more than 10 points. It was Marcus Sasser, who scored 13 points. Detroit's going to struggle without Cade Cunningham, and everything indicates to Cade Cunningham not playing against the Toronto Raptors. And I get it, Toronto's only got 4 wins this season, but hey, 2 of those wins just came in their last 3. And who's the other game out their last 3? The Cleveland Cavaliers, who are 17-1. The other 2 wins are the Indiana Pacers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, given this team has not won a game this season in the United States, which is crazy, but I think they pick up their first U.S. victory here against the Detroit Pistons. It feels like the right spot. Again, watch those back-to-back games from the Toronto Raptors against the Pacers and the Wolves. I mean, it kind of feels like this Raptors team is finally figuring itself out. They have an identity now. Jakob Poeltl's the dominant big who's putting together, double-digit rebound games every single night. He had 19 in their loss in Cleveland the other night. And then you got RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, and Grady Dick, who are going to run the offense. I'm not saying Toronto's going to be a playoff team by any stretch of the imagination. They're not going to. They had a 4-15 start. 4-13 start. I don't think they go anywhere in the playoffs. Neither do I think the Pistons go anywhere. I mean, you got to realize, the NBA now, in each conference, there are only 5 teams per conference that are not going to get a shot to win the NBA championship at the end of the season, or at least make a push in the postseason, because of, again, 10 teams make the play-in. I mean, you have to be a bottom 10 team to not make the postseason. Unfortunately for Toronto and Detroit, I feel like these are 2 of the bottom 10 teams in the NBA. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I think they are, right? Give me Detroit, though, to win this game. Toronto, though, to go to Detroit and win this game. I think Cade Cunningham not playing is a huge factor in this one, and I feel like the Raptors are kind of figuring things out. Do I think they go far? No. But I think the Raptors are going to start giving teams problems, and at the same time, it makes Toronto very viable in picking them to cover the spread as underdogs. That's all I'm saying. I love the plus 5.5. The extra juice, again, take them on the money line. I like both. Give me Toronto to go into Detroit and finally win their first game in the United States here in the 2024-2025 NBA season. Let's move on now to Indiana. We've got the Indiana Pacers taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. So again, we have a rule here on the channel. We don't pick the New Orleans Pelicans to win basketball games. Again, they are auto-banned until they get CJ McCollum, DeJounte Murray, and Zion Williamson back. They get 2 out of those 3, then I will consider taking New Orleans. Until then, guys, it just doesn't make sense picking this G League team plus Brandon Ingram to win a basketball game. I'm serious. Will CJ McCollum play this game for New Orleans against Indiana? He is questionable for this game. He's been out for a while. I feel like if he was playing, they probably would have already marked him as playing. This is a New Orleans team that hasn't played since Friday, where they did have a competitive game against the Golden State Warriors. Ultimately, they lost. But that's the thing. They will have good games. I'm not going to lie. New Orleans will play great. They'll get, tremendous output out of Trey Murphy will score a bunch of points. Antonio Reeves will randomly go off and score 34 points like he did the other night. And this team will still lose. That's rough for New Orleans. Now, Indiana just played yesterday. And guys, I am wearing a Fort Wayne Mad Ants jersey. Don't ask where I got this. I bought it on the G League store a couple years ago. But still, I'm taking their affiliate in the NBA, the Indiana Pacers. Guys, I think Indiana's back, okay? Tyrese Halliburton, I think, is back as well. I think he is, okay? I said it yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. The Pacers playing the Wizards was exactly what they needed. They had lost 3 games in a row, and they needed to just beat the crap out of some team. And that's exactly what happened. They beat the living, well, they didn't beat the living hell out of the Wizards, honestly. That game was close until the 4th quarter. But still, they did what they needed to do. And you know who got back on track? You know who did? Tyrese Halliburton. 21 points. Let's give it up for Tyrese, man. 5 threes made. He was 5 for 11, but still, Tyrese dropped 21 and 9 in that game. That will play. Again, those aren't the all-star numbers we need out of Tyrese Halliburton, but that will definitely, again, play. And now Tyrese is building back into becoming an all-star in this league. Okay? That's what we needed out of Tyrese Halliburton. Perfect. Now the Pacers can go beat the Pelicans. I mean, again, this is the perfect 2-game stretch the Pacers needed. Actually, hell, this is the 7. Oh, my goodness, look at these games. Guys, Indiana, I'm not kidding, can win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Guys, they can go on a 9-game winning streak. I'm not joking. This team can actually win 9 games in a row. All right? We're going to keep tracking this because we always talk about the Pacers here. Yeah, legitimately, Indiana could win their next 9 games. Or 8 if you include, they'll go on a 9-game winning streak because they've already beat the Wizards. Guys, look at their schedule. Pelicans, Trailblazers, Pistons, in Memphis. They might lose that game, but still winnable. In Memphis, in Toronto, in Brooklyn, in Chicago, at home against the Hornets. Then they got to go to Phoenix. So we'll see about that. But, guys, this is such a winnable stretch here for the Indiana Pacers. It is extremely winnable for the Indiana Pacers. They got to just take care of business now. And this is, again, this long stretch before they head out to the West Coast at the end of the month. This is what the Pacers need to get back on track. Perfect. They had a rough start to the year, but guys, Indiana at 7-10 is still the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. Now they can go on a run and they can put themselves back in the top 6 because Indiana should be a top 16 in the Eastern Conference. That's what they are. Okay, Indiana will be fine. Tyrese Halliburton will find his footing, and we don't pick the New Orleans Pelicans to win any basketball game right now in the association. So Pacers minus 5.5 feels really good. Minus 240 obviously as well, but we like the line here for the Pacers. Minus 4.5. Indiana takes care of business at home and beats the New Orleans Pelicans. Let's move on to Atlanta. The Hawks are a sneaky good team this year, man. They are. I get they're 7-10. Okay, they have the same record as the Pacers, but we get Atlanta at home here against the Mavericks, and yes, we are taking the Atlanta Hawks to beat the Dallas Mavericks. Why? Luka Doncic isn't playing. That's why we're taking Atlanta. Dallas is on the second half of a back-to-back. They just played an overtime game where they almost had it against the Heat, ended up losing that game in overtime in South Beach. Now you got to play a back-to-back after playing overtime? Yeah, we don't like Dallas to win this game. I think these two teams are evenly matched, again, with the Mavericks not having Luka Doncic, but now with Luka not playing and the Mavericks having to go into overtime in Miami and this being their third game on their road trip, yeah, give me Atlanta. We like the Hawks to go out here and take care of business, all right? Atlanta's 7-10 this season. Sure, they've lost back-to-back games after that big road victory in Sacramento, and the Kings are just a weird team. Like, they really are. We'll talk about them at the tail end of this video. They're playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's another team. I just don't understand the Sacramento Kings. I really don't. They look really good some nights, but other nights they just look really bad as well. I don't know. We might just need to start fading Sacramento every night. They are a really odd team, I'm not going to lie. I don't know. They've lost 3 in a row. They get OKC tonight. I'll be honest with you. I don't think they beat OKC, but we'll get to that in a minute. We like the Hawks a lot. Trae Young playing like an all-star. That's what he is. 22 points a night, 12 assists a night. Trae Young is playing lights out. Again, they've gotten him a supporting cast, and the Atlanta Hawks are going to be just fine this season. Atlanta is a playoff team. They're probably a play-in team, but I like them to pick up a huge victory over the Dallas Mavericks again, combined with Luka not playing and this being the second half of a back-to-back where the Mavericks just played an overtime game. Yeah, we like the Atlanta Hawks to take care of business and beat the Dallas Mavericks. We think they're going to cover the 2.5 points as well in Atlanta. Next up, we move on to the Garden, the TD Garden. The Boston Celtics will be hosting the Los Angeles Clippers. I think 9.5 is too much. Ultimately, again, we are taking the Boston Celtics to win this basketball game just because they're the better team. But this is Boston on a second half of a back-to-back. Los Angeles just beat the Sixers last night, but they got to rest some of their starters in the fourth quarter because they were able to dominate the 76ers. And the 76ers are another team where I just don't understand. The one time we start backing Philadelphia, that's what happens. And let's just get Jared McCain some help. Actually, no, Jared McCain did not have a good night. He did not play well. He did lead their team in points with 18, but Jared McCain went 2 for 11 from 3 and 3 for 15 from the field, but yet he had 10 free throws, so he had 18 points. It was a really bad night for Jared McCain, but even in a bad night, McCain's still putting the team on his back. That's all I'm saying. The Clippers, though, just played, again, a good game against Philadelphia. They're playing the Celtics here, the first time these two teams have matched up this season. Obviously, again, Boston's the better team. They're 14-3. We expect Boston to win the basketball game, but I do think Los Angeles should be able to keep this within the 9.5 points. Now, Norman Powell is questionable, I do believe, for this game. He has not played since Monday, obviously. Norman Powell shows up, beats the Golden State Warriors, and leaves. That's, Norman Powell, I don't know, just has a vendetta against the Golden State Warriors. Because he's balled out in both games he's played Golden State so far this season. So we'll see if Norman Powell plays the Celtics game. If Norman does play, obviously, we like the Clippers pick plus 9.5 even more. If he doesn't play, I still think Los Angeles is able to stay in this one. I mean, Boston just played a really hard-fought game where they did beat the Minnesota Timberwolves by 2 points on Sunday morning. They won the game 107-105, and I don't really, and you know what I'm going to say about the Boston Celtics. They have a great starting lineup. Obviously, they're still waiting on Kristaps Porzingis to come back, but Jaylen Brown's balling. Jason Tatum's obviously, establishing himself as an elite player in this NBA. Drew Holiday does his job. Derek White does his job, and Al Horford does his job too. That's just what Boston does, man. This is a team that's going to be around at the end of the season. I'd be hard-pressed to pick 2 other teams instead of them in the Eastern Conference Finals this year. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know if Cleveland is that second team. I would like to believe that's still the Indiana Pacers, but I don't know. It's probably the Magic. Honestly, I think Orlando's the second best team in the East right now, or at least at the end of the season they will be. We'll see. But for now, give me Boston to beat the Clippers, but I do think the Clippers are able to cover this 9.5 points. I think, again, the Clippers shooting just keeps them in this game. The Clippers are a sneaky good team, man. Where's Kawhi Leonard? I don't know. Will he retire? I don't know. There's rumblings that maybe Kawhi Leonard will not play again. He's not even working out with the team yet. So That's brutal. Give me the Celtics to win the game, but I do think the Clippers are able to cover the 9.5 points. As we go on to Memphis, Tennessee. We've got the Grizzlies taking on the Portland Trailblazers. Give me Memphis to cover the 10.5 points, just because I watched this game a couple weeks ago in Portland, and I saw the Grizzlies shoot literally 70% from the three-point land in that game. I think they should beat the Blazers, obviously. Now, Portland is coming off that victory over the Rockets, where they did win the second half of that. Obviously, Fred VanVleet has a little outburst at the end of the game, which is pretty funny, but still. Portland, I don't think DeAndre Ayton's playing in this game, if I'm not mistaken. DeAndre Ayton is doubtful, and Donovan is out as well. So that means Robert Williams will have to play center for this basketball team. That's not ideal considering who he's matching up against in Jaren Jackson and Brandon Clark. Again, no Zach Edey, I don't believe either, right? Zach Edey's still not back, I don't think. I don't think Zach Edey's back yet. I think he's out. John Morant still out, I do believe, unless is Ja back too now? Ja's questionable. Wow. Okay, that changes some things too. So if Ja's back too, the Memphis only gets better. But the Grizzlies, even in Ja's absence, have been really good. Again, all these guys on this team can shoot. Jaren Jackson's emergence as a number one scorer with Ja Morant out and on top of that, his shooting abilities as well has really made it easy to pick the Memphis Grizzlies. They are able to shoot lights out at points. And again, this is a 10-7 basketball team. This is a good basketball team. They've won 3 of 4. The only loss being to the Denver Nuggets in that 4-game stretch, beating Denver, losing to Denver, then beating Philly, and then going to Chicago and winning. Guys, the Grizzlies are the 7th seed right now in the Western Conference. They're 10-7, and they are a good basketball team. And I get it. Again, the Western Conference is an absolute gauntlet. Right now in the East, you have the 7-11 Chicago Bulls in the play-in. In the West, the 8-8 Minnesota Timberwolves right now would not be in the play-in tournament either. The 8-9 Sacramento Kings wouldn't have been in, right? The Western Conference is that good. The 10-7 Grizzlies, again, 10-7 would have you in 4th place right now in the Eastern Conference. 10-7, where the Grizzlies are, has them currently in the play-in. That's how good the Western Conference is. I think Memphis, though, beats the brakes off of Portland. Again, especially the Blazers without any centers for this game, I think it'll make it really tough for them to, 1, play defense, and 2, grab boards. I think Memphis' shooting should propel them over the top. And again, the last time we saw these two teams play, Memphis won the game by 45 points. I think the Grizzlies do it again, and on top of that game was at the Rose Garden. Now it's in the Forum here in Memphis. We like the Grizzlies to take care of business and cover the 10.5 points as well. Next up, we move on to the Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. You got the Denver Nuggets hosting the New York Knicks. Denver, I'm afraid to say, is back, I think. I think they're fully back. Jokic is back, obviously. They did lose the Mavericks game. Maybe I'm just saying that. Maybe the Nuggets are only just back against the Los Angeles Lakers. Because the Lakers still can't beat that Nuggets team because Jokic is Jokic. And he's going to continue to dominate Los Angeles till the end of time. But again, the Nuggets are back. They're 9-6. They're currently 6th in the Western Conference. For the Knicks, they are 9-7, 4th in the Eastern Conference. But this is a Knicks team that just lost to the Utah Jazz in Salt Lake City by 15 points. And they're still on this road trip. Yeah, I don't like them to beat Denver. I really don't. They've been away from New York for a week now, and they don't get back to New York until Saturday. I don't really trust the Knicks to win this basketball game, considering the way the Nuggets have been playing. OG Anunoby led the Knicks in points in that game against Utah with 27, yet they still lost the game by 15 points. It's just something about New York right now, man. I don't really like all that much. They did, beat the Nets twice and beat the Wizards. They beat the Suns without Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal. They won those games, but against bad teams. When they play, the Knicks recently have played better teams, they have lost. And Utah's not a good team. But Indiana, they lost. At Atlanta, they lost. They lost to the Bulls. I don't know. New York has just had a really easy schedule past their first 3 games of the season. They've played some really, bad teams and they've won. Right now, I'm just not sold on the Knicks. And when they have to go to Denver, I don't really like their odds of coming out of, the Ball Arena with the W. I think, again, the Nuggets are one of the best teams in basketball. They are slowly getting better and better, obviously. Aaron Gordon's still out with injury, but Russell Westbrook has found his role off the bench right now. Nikola Jokic, obviously, is probably the best player in the NBA currently. That's just what the Nuggets do to teams. They should be able to beat the Knicks. I don't think this is too hot of a take, but give me Denver to win this game and to cover the 4.5 points. I think they probably win this game by double digits, if I'm being honest. Give me Denver to go in there and pick up the victory. Next up, we go to the Chase Center in San Francisco, California. We've got the Golden State Warriors taking on the Brooklyn Nets. And the Nets, they passed the test yesterday, all right? I said if they couldn't cover against the Kings, I was going to start to kind of back off the Brooklyn Nets. No, we're never backing off the Brooklyn Nets. They will continue to cover for us for the rest of the season. Shout out to the 7-10 Brooklyn Nets. They get the Golden State Warriors on the road here. They are 12.5-point dogs. I get it, second half of a back-to-back. Don't care. Brooklyn should cover. Cam Thomas reintroduced himself last night with the 34 points in Sacramento. Again, we will talk about the Kings in the next game, but Sacramento, they are a weird team. They look really good some nights, and then other nights they can't beat the Brooklyn Nets and the Atlanta Hawks. I don't know. But Cam Thomas, again, is an elite scorer in the NBA. Cameron Johnson is a really good number 2 for the Nets as well, and on top of that, you got Dennis Schroeder in the starting lineup who can, do damage as well. Schroeder didn't play last night against the Kings with an injury. I'd expect him to play the second half of the back-to-back here against the Golden State Warriors. Dorian Finney-Smith, I don't think played that game either. I would expect him to play the second half of the back-to-back as well. Guys, they beat Sacramento without 2 of their starters in DFS and Schroeder. Now they get those guys back. They should definitely cover the 12.5 points they're getting in Golden State here. Guys, when are the books going to learn that these lines of the Nets are just insane? They shouldn't be getting that many points. We're going to keep taking it, but man, I don't know. Golden State is a team that's coming off a loss in San Antonio. They beat the Pelicans on the road only by 4 points. They did blow out the Hawks in their last home game, but even before that, right, losing to the Clippers, beating the Grizzlies by 5 points, beating the Mavs by 3 points, beating the Thunder, good win, by 11 points, still doesn't cover. Losing to Cleveland, beating Boston by 6, beating Washington by 13, beating Houston by 6. The Warriors don't cover this 12.5 a lot, and I don't think they're going to do it here against a really decent Brooklyn Nets team. Say what you want about Brooklyn right now, but this team is number 9 in the Eastern Conference. They are winning basketball games, and they are covering basketball games. Good teams win, but great teams cover. And that's what the Brooklyn Nets have been doing for us. Give me Brooklyn to go to Golden State and cover the spread. 12.5 is too much for Cam Thomas and Cameron Johnson, They will stay in this basketball game, and they will cover. Ultimately, yes, I do think the Warriors win, but give me the Nets to cover the line. Let's go on to our final game of the night at the Golden One Center here in Sacramento, California. We have got the Sacramento Kings taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. I really like the spot for the Thunder here. Now, the Kings don't make sense, so then it would make sense if Sacramento, loses 3 in a row to the Hawks, Clippers, and Nets, and then they go out and beat one of the best teams in the NBA in the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's kind of how the Kings operate, but regardless, we're going to follow logic here and say the Oklahoma City Thunder win this basketball game, all right? Again, it's an all-around team effort. Everyone in this team just plays well. Shea plays well. Jalen Williams is great. Chet's obviously still out. Is Hartenstein playing this game? I think he is. Hartenstein just came back in their last game against Portland, so I assume they kind of manage how much he plays. But yes, Hartenstein is back too, and Isaiah Hartenstein gives them a true big now. No longer does the 6'8", 6'7" Jalen Williams have to play center. They have a big now in Isaiah Hartenstein, and that makes the Thunder so much better. Because now when Chet comes back, which is not going to be for a while, but still, Chet comes back, then you get Hartenstein off the bench. Guys, Isaiah Hartenstein coming back from injury really helps this Thunder team a lot, and now officially makes me have full confidence in the Oklahoma City Thunder again to blow teams out. Because again, that's what just having a big does. Because it also frees up Jalen Williams to actually play the 4 and play his actual position. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of the best players in the NBA. That goes without saying. And Jalen Williams, again, is a really good number 2 for this OKC team as well. For the Kings, lost 3 games in a row. I mean, now they've got nights where De'Aaron Fox scores 60 points and they lose the basketball game. This is a very weird team. I don't trust the Kings doing anything right now. Again, we talk about their bench unit really lacking depth, obviously, but Sacramento right now just can't get it done. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. This team is just, until further notice, they're not banned, but until further notice, we are putting no trust in the Sacramento Kings. I mean, DeMar DeRozan, their big free agent, their big offseason pickup. Guys, DeMar's great, but DeMar DeRozan can't be putting up 18 points and 16 points for all that money Sacramento's giving him. And that's what he did in their last 2 losses to Brooklyn and to the Clippers. We are taking the Thunder to go into Sacramento and dominate this basketball game. They are the way better team. They have way more depth than Sacramento as well. And again, the Kings are coming off the second half of a back-to-back where they just lost to the Brooklyn Nets. I like the Nets, but still, that's a game we thought Sacramento was going to go out there and win. Give me OKC to go on the road to the state capital here in California. I think they will go out there and beat the Sacramento Kings, and they will do it by covering the spread of 4.5 as well. So give me the Thunder in the nightcap, and folks, that will do it for our daily NBA predictions here on November 25th. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for more best bets for college basketball and daily NBA predictions. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.